welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. Today we're having another one of our famous, well, famous to us anyway, free player battles. We are taking part using the new Tyranid Codex, which Chris over there is piloting. Trudeau there is bringing some evil Wraith list, and I am bringing... Now, yeah, it's got about 2 Eldar in it and some dead stuff. And I am bringing Clan Raukaan. Raukaan! Which is how we pronounce it, which is basically the Iron Hand Space Marine supplement. We're playing 1500 points and we are playing our weird free player mission. So all the free player missions we use have very similar rules. There's quite stringent deployment guidelines, which basically means each player has to put a deployment marker on the board. So we already have those. True is the nice white pure Eldar peg there. I am the lovely red Clan Raukaan peg. Yes, they're red. My ones are anyway. And Chris's evil Tyranids are the grey peg down there. We'll be deploying our forces shortly around those pegs, and we will be deploying an objective on the board, which we've forgotten to do, which will also be near our objectives, our table edges. So the ways you win the game are there's an objective in each of our deployment zones, which we can control. We also get points for kill points in this game, and we kind of like do a running total. You don't need to be particularly accurate when doing it. You kind of do it in your head, but you get the victory point if an opponent's unit is wiped out and you have killed the majority of the models in it. So say Chris has got a unit of 20 termagants, I kill 11 of them, Trude kills 9 of them, I get the victory point at the end of the game.
Kill stealer.
Yep. And if it's a tie, the last person to deal a wound to the model or unit gets the victory point. The other ways of getting victory points here are we have, what did I call this? A data bunker in the middle of the board. If you start your turn in base-to-base contact with the data bunker, you score victory points. You get 1 victory point if you have a denial unit next to it or in base-to-base contact with it, and 2 victory points if you have a scoring unit in base-to-base contact. You can't score that point at the start of turn 1 because that would just mean scouts and such would be a bit too useful. Okay, so you gain that, and then secondary objectives as normal, other than there is no first blood, but you can gain 2 warlord points because there are 2 enemy warlords to kill. Okay, and you can see the table, we're doing a bit of an industrial wasteland up here. Lots of terrain in a free player game because you really need to block line of sight a lot. Let's see what we bought in our armies. Okay, so my 1500 point Clan Raukaan force today consists of a Master of the Forge on bike. I'm afraid he's not painted. Is he the only? No, I've got 2 models in my army that aren't properly painted. Oh, no, maybe more, dear. I use my Blood Angels as all my Space Marines because, well, I like red. So he's there. He has got the Iron something?
Stone.
Iron Stone, which is an artifact from the Clan Raukaan book, which lets all vehicles within 6 inches of him do their It Will Not Die, which they gain from being Iron Hands, on a 4+, and also if they roll a 6, they get to repair weapon destroyed or immobilized results. So that's pretty good, and he's nice and mobile because he's on a bike so he can get where he's going, and he's still got his servo harness for flamer, plasma pistol, power fist fun. Troop-wise, we have 2 units of tactical marines, both in rhinos. One of them has a las cannon, a plasma gun, and a combi plasma on the sergeant, and the other one has a combi flamer on the sergeant, a flamer, and a multi-melter. We also have a unit of bare-bones scouts, just with bolt guns, and the sergeant there has a combi melter, and they are in a land speeder storm with a heavy flamer. So they're my 3 troop choices. I was running out of points a little bit, so I couldn't afford a proper bike squad. I only have 3 bikers here. There's a sergeant who has no upgrades, and there are 2 guys with grav guns. Then we move back a bit. In heavy support, we have a Tech Marine with his Thunderfire cannon, always a good choice. We also have 2 Vindicators, a bit flavourful for the Iron Hands, I felt. So they're sitting at the back there. They have no upgrades, so the siege shields on the models are just for show. And then, as we're playing Iron Hands, we couldn't leave home without a selection of Dreadnoughts. So we have an Ironclad Dreadnought. He's got the heavy flamer and a normal melter. He is in a drop pod. Then I have a Dreadnought with 2 twin-linked autocannons, and a Dreadnought with a twin-linked las cannon, and a missile launcher. So they're my 1500 points.
And here is the Nid Force going against them. I've dusted them off and they're out to play. I've got some stand-in models because obviously they only came out yesterday and I haven't got the models. I've ordered them, but they're here yet. I probably wouldn't put them together anyway.
Yeah, let's face it, you wouldn't have glued them together yet.
It's true enough.
You haven't glued together your hide turret yet from last year.
Silencio! So we have 10 termagants and 20 termagants and 20 hormagants to form a bit of troop unit. These Gene Stealers are actually Ravagers. They've got Spine Fist upgrades.
Raveners.
Raveners, even.
Ravagers are big Dark Eldar ships.
Yeah, they are. they're an allied force.
God damn it, Dark Lances.
They're Raveners. They've got Spine Fist. By the way, the Hormagants have also got adrenal glands. Got 10 gargoyles for a bit of a screening force. The Venomthrope, because he is now excellent. He was already good, but now he's excellent. He gives Shrouded as opposed to just a basic save, which was nice.
Now.
A group of 5 warriors, all armed with Death Spitters, apart from one with their Venom Cannon, and a Tyranid Prime, who's my HQ choice, who's got a Death Spitter as well. Trigon Prime with Regeneration. That is an Exocrine. The Carnifex is being an Exocrine today. That's a Hive Crone today, because the Hive Crone is pretty damn sweet. So let's see how that plays out. And that fellow back there is going to be the one... Haruspex, there we go.
Oh, I thought you were going to get the name wrong, but
no. Here's the Haruspex, who also looks on paper to be rather awesome. So let's see how he plays out. That's the force.
Okay, and because it's Eldar, it's the shortest army list on the table. We have, as you can tell from the colour scheme, an Iyanden army.
Which one of the colour schemes?
Anyone, I'm not particularly fussed. So the HQ is 3 Spirit Seers. Now,
I thought they were Craft World eBay.
Yeah, that's these guys over here. and these guys, I don't know what that is. But yeah, we have 3 Spirit Seers. They will be rolling twice on Runes of Battle, but they're going to take Voice of Twilight, let's face it. One is carrying the Wraithforged Stone.
Oh, is that one that heals stuff?
That heals these chaps.
Dead. Nice. Can they heal that missing head or not?
No, he's doomed. One has the Spear of Toothless because it's called the Spear of Toothless.
Nice.
I don't care how it's spelt.
Are you scared about that?
Not really.
No, you should be scared of this. One has the Shard of Anaris.
Oh, I know what that does.
Yeah, basically what we've done is got the worst army ever and then tooled it up with the best gear ever. So this won't last long, but it'll be funny.
I don't know, we're playing kill points. I've got 15, you've got 5.
Yeah, I need to reach them. Right, we have a unit of Wraithguard. 5-man unit of Wraithguard, and they are carrying D-sides instead of Wraith Cannon. What was that like?
I said, oh dear.
We keep our PG rating.
Another unit of 5 who are carrying their Wraith Cannon. Oh. And a unit of 10, these models are deceptive, they are actually Wraith Blades. And they're carrying Ghost Axes and Force Shields instead of their swords.
They've got some hollow emitter instead of their gun.
Indeed. Confuses the enemy.
Yeah, it does. And they're coming along in a Wave Serpent. Because, yeah, you can fit a whole unit in a Wave Serpent nowadays. And that has Vectored Engines, Star Engines, a Crystal Targeting Matrix, Spirit Stones, and a Hollow Field. Because with however many points all that was, sort of 100 odd, you couldn't really buy much else in an Eldar army. So that was it. Now we go to die.
Okay, so this is just for turn 1, and we'll just do a quick setup. So Chris is going first. There's no seizing the initiative in a free-play game because it would be a bit rubbish. So here set up, he's got a big mass of gargoyles there. He's got his Venomthrope hiding behind the building. I wonder why that is. And then he has his troop choices of the Tyranid warriors there with the Prime amongst them. So the rules are for the first turn of the game, you have to deploy at least 1 troop and another unit. And then at the start of your turn 1, the rest of your units can come on from your table edge. Similar to the old Dawn of War mission from 5th edition. It's to take away from the Alpha Strike nature that could occur in a free-player game. Also, night fighting is always in effect turn 1. So it's just a couple of things to mitigate 2 players shooting 1 player off the table before they actually get to play the game. So that's Chris's deployment there. Over here I have a Thunderfire cannon up here in this bolstered bit of terrain. I have my troops with 2 flamers in their Rhino, and I've deployed my 2 shooty dreadnoughts there. My scouts I've left in outflank reserve, and obviously my other dreadnought is drop podding in. True has deployed quite heavily in this bit of ruin here. She's got a Wave Serpent behind there. She's got her Wraithguard there, and a couple of Spirit Seers in there, and you can see behind there she's got a couple of Wraith Lords, or 1 Wraith Lord, and the D5 troops there, protecting her objective, and then there is the other Wraith Lord there. Objective-wise, my objective is down here. Chris's is hiding in the desiccated forest, and Trude's is hiding somewhere amongst there. Have you moved your objective, Drew? Ah,
Yeah, he's in there.
Drew's moved the objective over to there, cunning as she is. Okay, let's see what happens.
End of the Nids, turn 1. Basically what happened is things charged on and ran a bit. So the Termagants have come to take this objective and holding that and doing a little bit of a line to keep themselves in synapse.
Oh, if I could just interject with a rules comment. Hello again. Put me on camera. So the way it works is, because we said earlier in the previous part of the video that you can come on turn 1 with your forces. They're not in reserve, they just arrive on the table turn 1. Your table edge is 24 inches either side of your deployment marker.
So it's used down to about
So Chris's table edge is there. And where's my deployment zone, Chris?
Yeah, your deployment zone's about there, Michael.
Yeah.
It's not that far away, really.
Those Hormigants are quick, aren't they?
So the Hormigants have come on and have ended up. Yeah, that's about 4 inches away from his deployment marker and about an inch away from that tank.
This is what happens in free-play games. You get pretty close to the enemy. I'm now going to be doing the back-away manoeuvre.
It's also turned out to have another unexpected side effect, which has been a bit unpleasant, which is the Hive Croners leapt on first turn, vector striked that dreadnought that's no longer there.
My poor rifleman.
Dropped a couple of tentaclips into its backside and finished off.
Yeah, so we're going to slightly alter the rules in the
There's
future.
probably going to be a slight change in the rules because that was quite harsh. But yes, basically everything's run on. The Termagants run on, taken there. The Raveners are moving forward with some gargoyle screen in front of them, who ran a mighty inch. The Warriors, the Exocrine, the Haruspecs, everything else is advancing under the shrouding cover of the Venom Throne. We fired at the Thunderfire Cannon, only did 1 wound to it, unfortunately, so that's going to wreak some havoc. And this thing's filled with flamers, which I think are probably going to hurt me plenty when it comes to the Hormigants, because obviously they get no cover against it. So we'll see how it goes. But first turn so far, first turn kill. Can't argue with that.
Luckily, no first blood in this game.
No first blood, but to get rid of that Cypherman, because that Cypherman probably was on the entire table the biggest threat to the Hive Crone.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a result. Make a cup of tea.
Okay, so is Clan Raukaan turn 1. So Chris had come on and he had basically given me a lap dance with his Tyranids. And he'd put his Hive Crone over here. It's a bit of a problem because my initial manoeuvre was going to be my stuff that comes on the board, because as I said earlier, everything that you didn't deploy gets to come on the board turn 1 unless you held it in normal reserve. So I came on, my deployment zone is 24 inches around the table edge from my red peg down there. So I came on over this side, moved one of my Vindicators and my Rhino with some Space Marines in over there. And this Rhino down here just moved slightly, and my tactical squad with twin flamers got out. There was 20 Hormigants here. I first of all fired my Thunderfire Cannon, really wanted to take out the Venom Throat, because obviously that's affecting most of Chris's army there with +2 to its cover save. Unfortunately, I only managed to get 1 wound on it, but I did kill 6 of the Hormigants, which took them outside of the Venom Throat's range. So then the tactical squad over there opened up with their 2 flamers and their bolters and wiped the Hormigants out to a man, which gets rid of a threat. They had adrenal glands, so they could easily hurt all of my vehicles over there. My Thunderfire Cannon did that, so then the 2 Vindicators were both pretty poor. One fired over at the Tyranid Warriors, failed to wound, only hit one of them, and the other one was just slightly out of range of shooting at Trude's Eldar. See, I did actually take notice of Trude, even though she's sitting over there all innocent, trying to hide, pretending she's not there. The High Chrome was my main problem, because as I wanted to go round the table, it could then vector strike over me and kill another one of my vehicles. So I basically emptied the entire army at him. I first of all fired all my Storm Bolters at it from the various vehicles. I managed to get a grounding check on him, and Chris failed his first one. Came to the ground, took a wound. I then fired my Grav Guns at him, and I fired Storm Bolters from various other things at him, and managed to get another 2 wounds on. Wasn't so good for my Grav Guns there. But then I was a bit of a quandary, but then I remembered my Dreadnought hadn't fired, and I managed to hit and wound with both my missile launcher and my las cannon and killed it. So that's quite nice. Took out the threat, but it did take most of my army to do it. The Ironclad was looking around and he couldn't really see any good targets. I'd really like to have gone over after Trude, but because she's got a Wraith Lord guarding each of her stuff, one there, one round the corner. The Wraith Lord just eats my Ironclad for breakfast in close combat. So I decided to come down and guard the central objective. Because I'm not a denial unit, I can't score a point from controlling it or being next to it at the start of my turn, but he's there and should be able to stop other infantry models from getting the points. He managed to kill 1 warrior with his melter gun. That was my turn 1.
Eldar turn 1. They didn't move terribly far.
One of them did.
Well, one of them did. Yeah. Basically, these chaps all shuffled around a little bit. He moved forward 6 inches. Spirit Seer in the corner there stayed exactly where he was. These guys shuffled around a little bit. He clambered up on top of...
I think the official term for what they do is called mincing. They minced around,
Yeah,
basically.
He's a little bit too dead to mince, I think. And then this hit the panic button and retreated as far as possible.
Panicking of the no fire shooting at it.
Indeed. And then he chucked his spear at the drop pod, doing nothing. He fired some scatter lasers. He picked off 3 gargoyles from there, the only 3 he could see. He dropped some star cannons into them, took out a few more. Shuriken cannons. And that was it. It was a really productive turn.
You're not near anybody though, so that's a bonus.
No, exactly. I think I'll stay this way for the next 5 turns.
Tyranid turn 2. It's a game of mixed success for the little buggy people at the moment. The Termagants are still holding the line and doing this conga routine to keep themselves in both Venom Throat and Synapse range. The Exocrine and the Haruspecs have charged forward. The Thunderfire Cannon suffered at the hands of the Warriors. Their Death Spitters and Venom Cannon finally wiped that out. The Haruspect flicked his tongue at the Rhino and did nothing, unfortunately. He was hoping he would tongue a Rhino to death just for the sheer silliness of the whole thing. The Exocrine fired a large blast, which hit quite successfully over here, where it deviated by 3, but it's BS3, so that's fine. Wiped out 1 Biker and 1 Marine, unfortunately, which for a Strength 7 AP2 against that conglomeration of stuff wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, my cover saves was useful.
The cover saves did well, but still, it started whittling down the Bikers, who are the main threat to my monstrous creatures. The Trigon Prime leapt into the battlefield over this bit of cover, shot all of his shots at the Dreadnought. I rolled appallingly badly at hitting and achieved nothing. Not a thing, not a sausage, bugger all. And the Gargoyles are now in place to actually start scoring points from the data thing. And they're a denial unit, not a scoring unit, so I only get 1 VP for that. But it's 1 VP more than no VP. That's really straight play. My Trigon Prime has come into a point where it actually gives me more Synapse range in the middle, so I can start threatening the Eldar, because otherwise all my Synapses here, and I've got to keep close to that, else the new instinctive behaviour tables are a bit more cruel than they used to be. We'll see how it goes.
Clan Raukaan, turn 2. So, this turn I decided that discretion is the better part of valour, and there's these horrible monstrous creatures with a venom throat and all these Tyranid warriors coming towards me, and it's unlikely I'm going to be able to beat them all up in a sit in the corner and hopefully kill them before they eat me tactic. So I decided to do a run round the side manoeuvre. I left 1 Vindicator there to put a bit of fire into them. The Dreadnought and the other Vindicator moved over there and fired that way. I managed to get 1 wound onto the Wraith Lord and kill a Wraith Guard. The Tech Marine, who was hiding up there, managed to scramble down the side and join the squad of Space Marines, which was hanging around at the bottom. They then all piled inside the Rhino, and the Rhino went flat out sideways to get itself out of dodge. The other Rhino, full of troops, is making its way towards the centre of the board, and it has pop smoked for the turn. The Bikes, who were over here, moved up there, and then moved flat out down to there to get them a bit more towards the centre of the table, where I think a bit more combat is going to happen. My scouts in the Land Speeder Storm came on. I really wanted them to come over this side so they could do a right number on the Termagants, because the Land Speeder Storm, with its heavy flamer and its whatever it is that causes blind, is quite nice was there, but unfortunately I rolled a 1 and a 2, so I came over here. I fired my blind template at the Wraith Guard, but surprisingly for big, slow, dead bone things, they're quite fast and they pass their initiative check. Other than that, my Dreadnought managed to rack me up a kill point this turn. Trudid killed 5 of the 10 Gargoyles, but he moved in, flamed, and then charged in for some close combat and killed the other 5, and as I got the last wound, I get the VP for them. So that was quite handy. That is my turn done.
Eldar turn 2. Some things happened. We may have got slightly involved in the fight this turn.
God forbid.
These Wraithguard popped at the bikes. They valiantly look outside on the captain and threw themselves in the path for all incoming fire and died. Who did he shoot at?
He killed the speeder.
He did kill... Oh, yes. That's right. That's why we've got scouts all over the place. Yeah, he popped the speeder. It didn't explode, but it's gone, and the landscape is covered in scouts. He fired his shuriken cannon into the back of the Trigon, dealing it 2 damage.
2 wounds in.
And the Brave Serpent went all the way up here, all the way up here, all the way up here, and it's parked here. It's not very exciting.
Molesting my termagant. Termagant molester.
It's not very exciting, but there wasn't really a great deal of choice, as you can see from the table state right now. That's that.
Tyranid turn 3, not going fantastically, not going disastrously either, but I'm having...
You've moved into the lead.
Moving into the lead, but I'm having the issue that all NID players tend to find is I'm being outdistanced by vehicles, so Mike's forces are just dancing around me and not letting me get too close, which, to be very sensible, because I'd eat his face. The Haruspecs moved up and again failed to charge, just having bad luck with his charge ranges at the moment. Adrenal Gland, so he gets fleet, would probably be a good choice next time, I'm thinking. The Exocrine blew up a Rhino, took out the Rhino and killed 1 Marine with it in the explosion. The Warriors were too far away, apart from the Venom Cannon, which shot once and didn't actually do anything. The Termagants are falling back because that's coming over to eat them. But my Raveners also came over and did a mighty 1 hull point to this vehicle. This is going to get very, very sticky over. I think I'm going to lose this objective. The Trigon Prime had enough of being shot up the backside by one of the Wraith Lords, and so went off and ate his face.
No, he ate his feet.
Took everything. No, ate all of him. That's why he's not there. He's in him. Took 2 wounds in the process, but he does have regeneration. I brought him regeneration and regenerated 1 of them, so he's down to 3 wounds. A little bit vulnerable, but we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, it was a bit of an uneventful turn for my boys.
Clan Raukaan, turn 3?
Yeah.
Turn 3. This one didn't go as well as I'd planned.
It went great, Mike.
I had glorious plans for this turn. I'd cunningly split my Vindicators back here and cleared enough paths so my Dreadnought could fire at either this Exocrine, the shooty new bug, or the Wraithlord, depending on which one I would killed first, because I'd assume I might be able to kill them both this turn. You'll notice they're both still on the board. So this squad here, they moved into rapid fire range and they fired. They had their plasma and a crack grenade and a multi-melter and all kinds of good stuff. And the Vindicator over there fired, did 1 wound there and failed to kill the Venom Thrope as well, which wasn't good. Then we got out with our 5 dudes there, and they had 2 plasma guns amongst them. We fired over at the Wraithlord. I killed my own plasma gunner with a Gets Hot and did 1 wound to the Wraithlord. I then fired the las cannon in the back of the Rhino, and the las cannon, which is twin-linked, and the missile launcher from the Dreadnought over here at the same Wraithlord to try and deal 1 wound. Failed to deal any wounds, unfortunately. What else did we do? The Wraithguard that were in the ruins over there, my captain moved up to the side and he shot them with a plasma pistol and flamer. Didn't do much. And the scouts moved up to the side and again failed to wound anything, but I wasn't expecting them to. The scouts then charged to absorb the Overwatch from their D weapons, so they couldn't instant death my... I keep on calling him a captain, but he's actually a master of the forge on bike.
Yeah, this is how I let him get so close, is because you keep calling him a captain.
The captain is more deadly.
He is.
So the scouts managed to charge in, lost 1 of their number to the Overwatch. Then the Master of the Forge charged in. The scout challenged one of the Wraithguard to combat, so they were locked up, and the rest of the scouts and Wraithguard managed to flail ineffectually at each other. And then the captain, I called him it again, and then the Master of the Forge went in and flailed around with his servo harness and beat 3 of the Wraithguard to death, which was quite handy, but they are fearless. Other than that, the Dreadnought over here decided that he needed to go and deal with these warriors. He instant deaths them all with any wounds he puts on them, and he had 4 attacks on the charge, and there are only 4 warriors. I unfortunately only managed to kill 1 of them. They can't hurt him in return, but this Haruspecs, or whatever it is, big clawy beastie thing, is probably going to come and munch my Dreadnought next turn. So not the best of turns for me there, but let's see what True can do.
Welcome to Eldar turn 3. Mexican standoff. My Spirit Seer has taken 1 wound. he shot at the tactical marines.
They were 4 tactical marines.
4 tactical marines who were standing here, murdered them all, so he didn't get to charge them. We moved the D-scythes forward at last. They flamed and did nothing. And over here, we've moved forward 6 inches and spewed out everyone, and they can't assault because...
No assault vehicles.
No assault vehicles. That was the whole turn. My turn's nice and short.
Okay, end of Tyranid turn 4, which we've declared as the last turn, and it didn't go as well as one might have hoped. The Raveners charged forward and attacked this vehicle. With all their shooting and assaulting, managed to do 1 more hull point to it. Not enough to actually destroy it, so we didn't get the VP there. The Termagants did their brave last stand of shooting at Wraithguard, which, let's face it, with the odds of the dice aren't great. They got actually a fair few hits, but then no... I think they scored 1 wound, which was saved on a 2+ save. It didn't entirely go well. This fight over here, the Horospecs finally got into close combat after Mike dancing with it entirely for the rest of the game, and it did 1 wound, but that was disabled. It was immobilised, so now the warrior and the prime can actually hit it. So that may be enough to finish it off next turn, but not before it gets to do some damage. My noble force did the noble thing of destroying a drop pod for a victory point. That's how desperate it's become.
We've been trying to kill that drop pod.
The X-Green shot these Marines, wiped out a few of them, got into close combat, wiped out a couple more, but then they broke to Mike's excited glee and run off.
To the objective. They have managed to run away to the objective.
And of course that means it's done no harm to them at all, apart from it allowed them to move further to get to the objective.
I might fail my... Oh no, I automatically rally and get to move and shoot.
Yes, yes, yes. Cheesy cheese. But that's it. That's my end of my turn, so that's all I can do now. I might scavenge another VP for that. Might.
So, victory points on the door, so we've... As Chris says, we have declared this is the last turn at the moment. So after Chris's turn, he has gained 1 more VP. Oh, you've already got that for the drop pod. So Chris is on 5 VP, I'm on 3, and Trude's on 3, but we've each got a turn to go.
So it looks like I'm...
Well, you're probably going to get the Dreadnought.
I might get a draw. I might get lucky and get a draw with someone.
You've got that objective at the minute.
But
You're likely to keep it, because I don't think the Wraithguard can kill all of those Termagants.
But they'll contest it.
Well, I'm not sure they can get within 3 inches.
We'll wait and see.
Over here, I'm likely to keep mine now, and I think True can probably get back round and keep hers.
She can either go for objective or kill my Trigon Prime, so either of those 2 will get her another VP, so yeah, we'll wait and see.
That is it. Okay, Clan Raukaan turn 4, and as Chris said, this is the last turn of the game because it's getting a little bit late. So I needed to obviously gather victory points here. Due to my amazing run away from combat last turn, which has really helped me out, these troops down here had managed to get right near their objective. But because the Venom Thrope had been pissing me off all game, I decided I would try and kill that first. I fired a Vindicator round at it, but failed to kill it, which is a bit annoying. I fired Vindicator over there and the las cannon in the back there at this thing to see if I could do enough wounds to maybe kill that this turn. I only got 1 wound on it, so I decided not to put any more fire into it. The Dreadnought over there managed to kill the Wraith Lord that was there for another victory point. And then the Marines down here valiantly charged into the Venom Throat, managed to beat them up. It was a little risky as I needed to roll a 3 to consolidate back onto the objective, but I managed to do that. So I'm holding my objective this turn. The Dreadnought, he got an arm lopped off by the Tyranid Prime, and then I managed to kill the last remaining warrior from the squad, gaining me another VP, but then the Horospecs ate me for breakfast, and I've been removed, gaining Chris a VP. So at the end of my turn, Chris and I are both on 6 victory points, and we each control our objectives at this point. Chris over here has massive 20 Termagants on there. Trude's going to charge him, I suspect, with the Wraithguard there, but it's unlikely they're going to kill all 20 of them. So it'll be up to her what she wants to do. She may find easier kill points on the Raveners at the back. Over this side of the table, it went not very well. I managed to gloriously intervene with my Master of the Forge on bike to take over the challenge from the Sergeant to try and kill the last remaining Wraithguard, because I was finding that Trude's invulnerable save on her Spirit Seer was keeping her alive from my Power Fists. But then I whiffed my 2 Power Fist attacks and didn't kill any, and the Spirit Seer managed to kill one of the poor scouts, so she then beat me in combat. But luckily she also caught me, meaning we're still locked in combat, so I've got a good chance of at least getting one of the VPs from that thing there. Let's see what Trude can do in her turn. Okay, so it is the end of the game. Trude has completed her turn. Trude, what happened on your turn?
Yeah, it went horribly wrong.
No, it all went horribly right.
Right, so, Wave Serpent, popped forward a little bit, took out a cluster of Tyranids.
Yes.
And then the Wraith Blades charged in and took out the rest of them.
So 20 termagants all dead, and
It's
you
all
having an
the
objective.
And then these guys chuffed back here to reclaim this objective.
So Trude has reclaimed her own objective over there.
Yep. And then I gloriously reclaimed the challenge, so it's back to where it was.
We've used the glorious intervention rule twice this game, and I've never used it before.
And I did a wound.
Yeah, you got a wound on my Master of the Forge.
Yeah, and you failed to get one in return, and your scouts took out my
Yes,
my Wraith Lord.
I failed to hit with my Power Fist, which was really bad, but then I managed to get one wound on the
One
Wraith
wound,
Guard,
and that
and
was
Trude
it.
failed her 3-up save. So the game is a draw. I have killed 7 victory points worth, 7 kill points worth, and I am controlling my own objective thanks to my glorious run away from combat from Chris last turn. Trude has killed 4 things, but she controls both her own objective at the back there and has taken Chris's objective on this last turn. And Chris has killed 6 things, but unfortunately he has failed to got an objective at the end of the game. So Trude and I are on 10, so it is a drawn game. I put all these different victory conditions into these bloody games,
Yeah, and
we
always
still
draw.
managed to
Any
always draw
multiplier
them.
one comes as a draw somehow.
Yep, that is it. So, main talking point, Chris, what do you think of your new Tyranids? Obviously, you only got the book at midday and threw together an army list.
Absolutely. The new units seem to be very good. The Haruspex is fairly scary in close combat, and the Exocrine is quite dangerous at both short and close range.
Yeah, I think I was most impressed by the Exocrine.
Yeah, the Exocrine, because he's got a good threat at long range, which is rare for the Tyranids. He's got a good AP2, Strength 7, 6 shots or a large blast template. It's nice and flexible.
I think he affected my movement the most. Every turn I was thinking, well, there's a big blast that's AP2.
Yeah.
I better get out of the way of that.
Absolutely, and yeah, he's a good threat unit. And the Haruspex, I think if he ever got into combat with the unit of infantry, would be devastating. But the Tyranids still have, in actual fact, they now have even worse the problem that it's hard to get them into combat. With
Yeah,
the
they haven't-
ascetic spores, it gets even harder to get
They
them
haven't
into
altered
place.
your options, have they? All you can do is basically walk towards the enemy.
Yeah, there's very minor options, like a Morlock can allow some infantry units to come up, but the monstrous creatures now, without the mycetic spores, just can't. They just literally have to walk the
Yeah.
board.
I mean, they're cheap, so you get more of them, so you're likely to get them, but it still doesn't help you get there.
yeah.
So you failed 2 charges, which was bad rolling, but they were both 8. So I think, as you said, the getting fleet on them would help.
Yeah, the adrenal glands to get me a fleet would probably have actually been a good use, which is a live-in.
Yeah, because you kind of rolled 6 on both of those, so
Yeah,
a little bit
absolutely.
better rolling, you'd have been fine.
But yeah, the new units, including the Hive Crone. The Hive Crone
Yeah.
made you panic so much that you fired your entire army at it, and
Yeah.
now, with good reason, that Vector Strike at Strength 8 is very nice.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think the additions are good, but the removals, I think, they reduce the tactical flexibility, and I'm not keen on that.
They
Yeah.
already had a fairly low tactical flexibility.
Exactly. I dislike removing models from codexes anyway, though. I just think it's off. Okay, they didn't produce the models, but our mate Paul, he's made himself 3 of the
Mycetic
drop
spores, yeah.
mycetic spores.
And they're not
got all the
hard to
ingredients
build.
for mycetic spores. So,
Yeah, so but now there's just no option for them. So that's
Yes.
and people have actually spent kind of like decent money on them
Yeah,
as well.
building their own and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now
Well,
they're just
they've-
taken away for.
There are companies out there that make kind of like resin ones, which are like 20 odd quid each, and
Yeah.
if somebody's bought 5 of them, they now don't get to use them. It's a little off in my mind.
Yes,
But yes, we shall have to give the Tyranids another outing another time.
Yes.
definitely.
Thanks for the game, guys. Well done, True. A
Yeah,
draw for
good.
you and I.
I know,
That
it's terrifying.
that last turn was very, very good.
It was, yeah.
Very
Went down
cool.
to the last eye roll of the game, didn't it?
It really did. Literally,
does.
the last save, the save was that's it.
Yeah, I needed True to roll a 1 or 2, and she did. Excellent. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.